Thank you so much for joining me just to be able to talk through a few questions of what it was like to work together. Missy Corrigan, you are the CEO of the YMCA in Sumter. You're in the middle. Christine Hodge, you're the finance executive in the blue shirt to the left, my left. And then Emily Sorrell, you are the marketing and mission advancement executive on the right in the gray shirt. And again, really enjoy getting to work with you and your team for the past several months, almost a year we've been together. And I just kind of want to kick it off and say, would you mind describing what was taking place before we started working together?
Sure. So our leadership team was a mix of new leadership and tenured leadership, and we were working well together, but we knew that we wanted to be better, and we wanted to take a big step in our team development. We had done some exercises together identifying our values and what we wanted our culture to look like, and really what kind of a team we wanted to be. And we identified that communication really was a struggle for us. Even though we communicate with each other every single day, there was just something missing. And we agreed as a team that in order to be better, we wanted to invest and be intentional about our development. And that's kind of what led me to you and to where we are today.
Perfect. Either one of you ladies want to share before I ask the next question?
No, I think I agree. I mean, right here with this panel is, a great example of what we compile in our organization. Missy and I have both been here 12, 13, 15 years. Christine's been with us about 2 years. And, all of us have different levels of YMCA experience in, program membership, finance or whatever. So being able to communicate constructively and fluidly was really important.
I would like to add in that considering we have a lot of new staff, we've had quite a few new roles, and just being able to communicate with each other, it kind of broke that barrier of having new members and new staff, and just pinpointing what exactly and how exactly each person likes to communicate. So that was very helpful for our team here at the Y.
Perfect. That kind of leads me into the next question, which is, what results were you able to accomplish from our time of working together?
I really think that accountability, not only just for ourselves, but as a team, was one of the biggest results. It's always good to work on yourself, to develop yourself, to reflect and assess, but to do it together as a team really made us stronger. We were all going through this together, and like I said before, really investing and being intentional about the development as a team. We were all growing and learning together, and to be able to share in that experience was really something special that made us stronger, I think.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Emily or Christine, do you want to add anything as far as results that you're able to accomplish?
I really enjoyed the weekly or month, the meetings with our stakeholders. I felt it made us think outside of the box. We were able to get feedback, not just from like what we would normally feel that would be necessary to improve upon ourselves, but we'd be getting external feedback from people we work with every day. And that feedback was very important. And then when we did our 360s, that was another step forward into providing more feedback that we wouldn't normally get anywhere else. So that was just excellent feedback that we have, and we'll have it for the rest of our lives, and we can continue to grow upon what feedback we received.
I agree that, I know most employers do like annual, semi-annual reviews to help you figure out whether or not you're staying on track with your goals and whatever. We're doing this monthly. So you can't hide from it. It's like a constant reminder. Hey, did you work on this? Because we talked about it last month. And having multiple stakeholders in different roles, your supervisor, a peer, a coworker, you're getting it from different angles. So you really get a really big, wide lens view of what you need to continue to work on. And it's raw data. It's not like you can hide behind it. The really amazing and sometimes overwhelming portion is that we're all very honest. So you're getting feedback that's unfiltered, which is fantastic because you have to be raw like that in order to really find an opportunity to improve.
Right. And I think that you have to be able to create that safe space
Mm-hmm.
to have that. And that's really what this brought for us, was that safe space, to be able to have those honest communications, so that we could really, improve and take that feedback and move forward. But the personal commitment statements that we also ended up writing, I think, was very important to our team, knowing exactly what we were bringing to the table and, what we were going to hold each other accountable for.
I hear a lot of accountability. I hear transparency. I hear, the 360, not being able to hide from a lot of the information that you got. And you were able to choose what you wanted to do with it. So you get so much information, you just get to choose maybe one or two things you want to work on going forward. And at the end of this engagement, you had a full workbook, online workbook of data points from day one through every time we met, basically monthly, and then all the way through to include 360 information, to also include personal commitment statements as you go forward, and learnings that you've been able to create. So your entire team can go back and look at month one and see where you were individually and as a team. And then you can see kind of midpoint what was going on, and then again at the end. So you guys did a great job just kind of recapping that. I appreciate it, because not everybody understands some of the results you get. And when you go through it, sometimes you wonder, I don't know about this, but you all decided to take the next step and the next step and the next step. And at the end, you've got this whole workbook of data points that your entire team participated in, that you're able to see that personal and team growth through the creation of accountability. So it was great to be on the outside, to be able to watch the development of that and the growth with the accountability. So the third question I wanted to ask is, what surprises did you or maybe your team gain while we worked together?
I think the perceptions, especially in the 360, to be able to get that type of feedback, where you weren't really sure if what you were doing was right or even being noticed, to be able to get that was a huge surprise. And I think that a lot of the team members felt more valued after that, by their own team members. And really, that, to me, that was huge. It was a nice surprise, just everybody felt valued.
Yeah, I think that there were some things that were brought up that were like, well, I never noticed that somebody else noticed that. So it was really nice to hear those small little things that people don't say out loud. Compliments are really hard to give, and sometimes they're really hard to receive. It's easier to be critical. And it's, for me in particular, I think it's really easy for me to take constructive criticism, but you give me a compliment, it makes me feel very uncomfortable. Reading it on paper and seeing it said 2 or 3 times, I was like, okay, well, I really do that well. I'm glad that that's being noticed. The other thing that really surprised me is, in a business where a lot of people complain about the number of meetings that we have, ironically, we agreed that our leadership meetings didn't need to be monthly, but they needed to be weekly. And they've been incredibly productive. Meeting once a week and really focusing on what's really important at that time. And the items that we discuss has kind of altered from week to week. It's not just like the big scope picture of what's going on in each area of the facility, but we drill down into the things that are really important that we really need to focus on. So that, to me, was a big turning point.
What surprised me was when I realized in a particular meeting we were experiencing our turning point or a climatic point. And I just relate it to any good book. Every good book has a climax or a climatic point. Mm-hmm. And there was one meeting where it got very raw. Everything was thrown on the table. Emotions were high. But at the end of the day, we came up with a solution to one of our biggest challenges. And that day was quite amazing, looking back. And it was necessary. And I didn't even know it was coming, but it came. And I don't know if everyone realized it, but I'm like, oh, that's our climatic point.
Right. It just happened organically. Yep. And I think that, it was just a culmination of everything that we were going through, all of our, stakeholder coaching and the reflection, the homework that we were having to do, our
Mhm.
discussions that we were having in here. It just happened. And it's like any relationship, if you want to get better, it's got to get worse before it gets better.
Right.
And yeah, it was rough and it was difficult,
Mhm.
but to be on the other side of it and to see where we are today is a huge difference from where we were a year ago.
Absolutely.
So it was almost transformative.
Very
Yes.
much so.
So what, it may be scary for other people to realize, oh my gosh, I don't want to have that hard discussion, but we started out with a goal of just being able to improve communication within the team. And we took small steps to get comfortable, to build trust, to share with one another, to make observations. As Emily said, oh, they noticed that I did that anyway. And so it creates like a reconciliation to allow us to take another step further. And I know exactly what meeting that you're talking about, Christine, because during that meeting, as the facilitator, I realized we're just going to table the agenda because there's something bigger here that needs to be shared. And I just need to listen to what's going on around the table. And, sometimes we have to have those moments. And you're right, it was climatic. And people it felt like, based off the feedback, they felt heard, they felt like they were able to share. And then after that, it just felt like there was just a new level of communication and work with the team. But you guys were already working well together. You literally took it to the next level, but you had to get through that uncomfortable to get to the other side. So congratulations to you guys, because we can only do so much, but you did the work throughout the process. And around midpoint, it was just kind of like, all right, we're going to break through on this. We're all in, we're all sharing, we're all present. Let's just take it. And all of you were able to do that. So kudos to you for being able
I think
to
that
stick in there.
Thank you. I think the TED book had a lot to do with that as well, helping us to see the roles that we were playing, throughout the events, that go on every single day, just in our communication and how we were influencing the culture negatively. So to be able to, self-reflect and look at what we needed to change and what we're bringing to the table every day, that was a big game changer, a good turning point for us.
Anybody who's watching this, they're probably like, oh, it must be a very set schedule with Catherine. And I have to go back and say, no, everything I do, there's a foundation that's there, but there's individual tailoring to fit what the unique group needs are. And in this example, based off of Missy, you and I would meet and you'd give me a little bit of guidance and then I'd make some recommendations. And so in this one, we were able to, because you were already reading a book within the organization once a year, with the leadership team, it made sense. So I made a recommendation and you read through it and you were like, yeah, I think this book is going to work. So we're able to co-create solutions based off of where you are, what your norm is, but then also layer in the foundation of that stakeholder center coaching to create accountability and transparency and transformation. So while the foundation is consistent, sometimes the co-creation, the details of the day-to-day, that allows us to get creative to fit your unique needs along the way.
Right. And I appreciate that with what you brought for us, not just a canned program, but hey, let's start here and let's see where things go and what we need to change. So thank you for being able to be flexible with us and move with our dynamic.
I'm glad it worked. Yes, the feedback was great. And sometimes you just got to table some ideas and find out what's going to work and adapt with where we are. And I think we were able to do that. So the last question I wanted to ask is, if somebody, they're new to me and they're just kind of wondering, I don't know, do I really want to work with Catherine or not? What would you say to that person who's just kind of watching this? They're not familiar with me. They're not sure if they want to try, stakeholder center coaching engagement or this type of work. What would you say to them?
Well, first, just give me a call because I'll talk to you about it. But I really think it is important to bring in an external expert in this field to be able to help a team grow. I think that we had reached the point where we had done everything that we could do internally to make change happen, and we needed to all jump in with an external source to be able to make that change. They always say it's easier to change when it's with someone that you don't know than it is within your family. So to have someone bring in that expertise, what you see out in the field and what you can share with us, really was just important to the team. I wanted the team to grow. We all wanted to grow. We were stuck, and we knew we had to take the next step, which was bringing you in. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I always tell, my kid and some other people, I say, you're not always going to listen to your mom, but you might listen to somebody else's mom. So we're going to call you Aunt Katie, because now we got Aunt Katie's advice and guidance. It's doing a fantastic job trying to guide us. But after so long, it's like, okay, well, mom's telling us this again, or Mrs. telling us again. You need to hear that from somebody else, especially with a fresh perspective. It didn't take you long to figure out what our dynamic was. Who were the quiet ones? Who are the ones that spoke out more than anybody else? And you would identify that and try to figure out how to level the playing field, making sure that we're all having some level of accountability within all of our discussions, the work that we were doing, the workbooks that we had. So it wasn't all on Missy's shoulders to lead everything, that she got to go along the ride with us. It was part of her journey as well as our leader. So I think that was the most beneficial part, is that it wasn't just on her. We all had to play a role. We all had, something that we had to bring to the table.
I highly recommend the program if you want to grow professionally and personally. It might hit people more on the personal level than the professional level. For me, it was both. I found areas in my life that personally I could improve upon, and then just take all the ideas that we learned and make those areas better. I recommend coming in with an open mind, be ready to be challenged. At the end of the day, you're going to become a better you for your team, and I feel that that's extremely important.
Yeah, and really,
Thank you, guys.
to have someone, of your level, Catherine, that can invest the time in looking at our team and assessing what we need, that's huge for all of us in leadership, when we have so many competing priorities that we want this to be a priority, but we really can't make it the priority. To be able to have you say, hey, I'm coming, y'all be ready, get your homework done, that was really helpful.
Oh yeah, the coaching and the leadership along the way, that was very helpful.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much for sticking it out even during that tricky meeting that we had to get through. The work that you guys have compiled, I think it is a great reflection of the transformation that you've created with your organization. Missy, I appreciate your trust to be able to hire me as the CEO of the YMCA in Sumter. Missy Corrigan, you are the CEO of YMCA in Sumter in the middle. Emily Sorrell, you are the Marketing and Mission Advancement Executive in the gray shirt. And Christine Hodge, you're the Finance Executive in the blue shirt. Again, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to work with you, and look forward to staying in touch and cheering you guys on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it.